We tried ever so hard to put on brave faces whilst going through daylight. We will be honest, we aren't great at being scared, and this one ticks all the boxes of jump scares. Not everyone gets scared by a game, but for some, and especially us, it's something we just can't control.
Written by Jessica Chobot, yep, you heard me, is Daylight, a game where the main character Sarah wakes up in a seemingly abandoned hospital. And all you have for comfort is a mobile phone which handily displays the game's map. Although why she doesn't dial up her mum and get the heck out of there is beyond me.
It's obviously an iPhone.
Nah, the screen isn't shattered into a million expensive pieces.
Apple! To get your bearings, a strange voice is heard guiding you, albeit in a creepy, disturbing fashion. You have some strange markings on your arm and basically are thrown in the deep end and told to walk around and explore.
Picking up glow sticks is a small comfort as they do a much better job of lighting you away than the crummy iPhone light. Phone light. And later you pick up flares which you are told when lit will keep the nasties lurking in the dark away from you. But the flares are very few and far between. I myself used up all the flares very quickly because I'm a wimp, leaving me no other option to run away from the ghouly goits. It's at this point the game comes into its own. Lurking through the dark halls, you're never sure what you're going to find as the game changes every time you play. Thanks for that, dev team. The sounds you hear make you feel like you're not sure whether something is coming for you, or it's just something to keep you on a knife edge.
Early on, you'll see weird things too. Ghostly apparitions that are just barely visible, objects sometimes will randomly fly in front of you, drawers slide open, alarms sound, everything just to make you feel constantly in enough fear. And when something does come, something that isn't just a noise, you're not prepared for it at all.
Did he walk back? Oh! There's nothing behind you. Oh, Jesus!
Look at that face.
If you hadn't shouted run, I probably would have just stood there in fear. Where the game seemingly falls over, it's never really clear exactly what it is you have to do for the first part of the game. And if you're not sure, you can be left wandering the halls for ages because you missed a small note or object required to move to the next part of the map. Then you start to realise all those noises are just noises, and you're totally safe.
Although, Josh, you didn't feel that great all the way through, did you?
No, I didn't.
The corridors and scene clutter such as drawers and cupboards become all the same, and losing your bearings can be tiresome, especially tiresome when there's something chasing you. It's not quite the right balance that you get when playing something like Outlast. It's trial and error and figuring out what to do and where to go. But once you get into a flow and understand it better, it's easier to deal with. Most impatient gamers looking for a quick thrill may turn this off long before they get any enjoyment from it.
Oh! That's it! That's it!
The map is difficult to read due to it shaking around all over the place whilst moving, and unless you're willing to pull the phone in close to check the map, the tiny interface is hard to see in the standard view, even while stood still. Okay, so this is more realistic, but it just feels like it hasn't quite got the right feel to the map reading.
Daylight does have some minor issues which could do with being worked on. It feels very glitchy when loading and saving. You also have to be very precise when trying to interact with objects and opening doors, which is extremely frustrating, especially if you're being chased.
But all in all, despite its flaws, it does its job well by scaring the shat out of you. Yeah, it's not as atmospheric as the likes of Outlast and Alien Isolation, which we were fortunate to get our hands on with, but for a game less than a tenner, what more could you want?
Bag of chips and a handjob?
This is too much! Stop! Stop!
So how scared were you really?
I touched cloth.
Wowzers.